World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
Senna was a god. No one could even dream to follow him.
I'm from a very humble background.
The role of women at that time were really difficult.
This is so dangerous. You are risking not only your life, but also my life.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
Hello to our viewers. My name is Davinia Juice and I welcome you all to this broadcast. Here with me in the studio is Simon Zammit and Edwin Saliba. How are you guys today?
We're doing great, thank you.
Great. So we would like to welcome you to official GP Racing Esports Cup at the virtual Rarev karting track in collaboration with GP Racing Karts and GP Racing Cards Malta. We are live on ESTV, TVM Sports and Motorsports.tv. So, what do you think about today, guys?
I'm looking forward to it. I think something interesting about it is that we're going to have real karting drivers here in the studio racing on our rigs, which is going to be very exciting. We're going to have two races, first with the junior category, then with the senior drivers.
Yes.
And it's going to be very fun watching them take their experience from the real-life racing circuit and apply it to the virtual track that here at World Pro Racing we've created. It's going to be very, very exciting.
And also, I'm really excited to see the juniors because since I've been hosting at World Pro Racing, I have always seen seniors race. So I'm very excited to see those little faces with racing.
They might be little, but I think they start from a young age. So my belief is that they're going to be extremely fast. Maybe not as fast as the seniors, but nonetheless, I think they will be really fast. And we'll see also the seniors, because the seniors, we know how fast and quick those guys are. Obviously, we're talking about the best Maltese karting drivers we have. So, as Simon said, applying real life karting to simulator karting, I think it's not about the challenge that they're going to face, but simply adapting with no G-forces, no anything, just go and get the simulator karting, trashing it around a track. You can't do that in real life because obviously G-forces hold you back, fatigue holds you back as well. Here, obviously, there is fatigue, but a bit less than real life.
This is the first international event, so I'm sure that we'll see many more in the future. What do you think?
I hope so. It's one of those things where it's outside of like very established motorsports, you don't really see physical or real life racers take on esports challenges or vice versa. So having it here in Malta specifically, is a very, I don't want to say unique, but it's a very interesting challenge and event. So I hope it continues year after year and that we make it a thing, because it's a really, really exciting prospect.
It might catch on. We hope it catches on, because obviously racing simulator go-karts obviously is less powerful than normal GT cars we were used last year to commentate. And obviously it also can help younger drivers to develop natural driving talent. So let's hope it can catch on. It's a big initiative. It's an international race and event. So let's hope it might catch up.
And these young children who are racing, I mean, I'm sure that they have someone to look up to, if not their parents, their grandpa, or someone who is actually like races in a really powerful spot, right?
For sure, every young kid, especially ones who are into racing, they all have their favorite drivers, they all have their favorite personality. For me, it's Jenson Button, because I grew up watching him win the 2009 Formula One World Championship. I don't know if you have your own.
I think many drivers are on my side, because who races cars, fast cars, they can all be sort of an idol to me. I don't have a specific idol, because those guys, obviously, it is their life. So they're all fantastically talented as well. But as you were saying, Simon, there are many drivers that they have their parents or grandparents who are racing, and obviously they can inspire the little ones as well. And with this international event, I think it can continue to have many more young siblings that can try and race karts, if not in real life, maybe they can start racing simulator karting, which is, I think, obviously a bit less expensive, obviously. And to start from somewhere like that, I think it's a good idea. And obviously it helps them to go to a real life karting, obviously, after that. But it's a good initiative.
I think that's generally one of the biggest advantages of starting with an esports, is that you get a feel for driving and get an idea of how to control a car and what to do when you make a mistake.
Of course.
So then if you do try racing a proper car,
of course,
you kind of take that knowledge with you, those instincts that you develop racing on an esports simulator.
And obviously the simulator they're using here, I think it's R Factor 2. Maybe, I think it's R Factor 2. So
yeah, we use R Factor 2 and Assetto Corsa. Today we're using R Factor 2.
Both of them are really good simulators. So you can get a feel and an idea, a good feel and an idea of what you might experience in a real life karting experience.
Absolutely, yeah.
But as it is today, for the event that we have today, it's going to be interesting how they can also match up with their timing, for example, in a real car to a simulator car. The experience is totally different, obviously, and then obviously you can match your own timing, your own performance with real life karting and simulator karting. It's going to be interesting for both sides, seniors and juniors. It's going to be really interesting how fast they are, how matching up are the times they usually do, and of course they can also compare with each other, the gap between each other, and how races are from simulator to real life karting.
I think we can underestimate children sometimes with their own knowledge and experience, because I don't know how the ages of these children are, but I'm sure that they have to start learning. There's a process of learning how to race. So I think that's from somewhere they have to start. So it's important to start educating these children to go a long run.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everything comes with a learning curve. You don't start a new hobby, pick it up immediately, and then become an expert within a week. You know, you have to put in your hours, you have to constantly go back to it, and you have to make those mistakes, learn from them, and keep growing. That's something really, really interesting about specifically watching kids race, is that you kind of see some of the mistakes that you know over the years they're going to iron out, but at the moment when they're still a bit unpolished, they're still a bit they're still getting used to the system, used to the racing. It's interesting watching them develop, and I think that's something that we're going to have a great viewing of tonight. We're going to get a direct comparison between people earlier in their career and people who have more experience.
What do you think? What are you expecting, Edwin, from this race?
Well, I'm expecting a really good event and really good racing, and I hope it's going to be close racing as well, because I love, as you all know from last year, I love close racing, last lap battles, and karting usually. You can experience those types of situations in karting, because obviously in both ways, real life and simulator karting, you can crash a go-kart if you crash it, or maybe some damage, and that's it. It's just going to cost some amount of money, and that's it. If you crash a real life car, it's going to cost you way more than that. So, and in simulator, obviously if you crash it, you're going to not spend nothing. But so I'm expecting really close racing, maybe one overtaking each other, just a group of 5 cars, a group of 4 cars, one overtaking each other. So let's hope it's going to be a really two really amazing races.
Absolutely. And we also have to hope that it's going to be clean racing, that everyone's going to follow general racing rules. We have 2 incredible FIA accredited stewards here, so they'll be keeping everything clean, they'll be keeping everything fair, which is really nice to see. Again, when you're talking about younger drivers, people who would or do make more mistakes, having a very firm judge there to correct them in their mistakes is an incredible learning opportunity.
Exactly, and but also in go-karts, even in real life, if you bump just a bit into the guy in front of you, you don't get a penalty. So, and that's the brilliance of racing. Just if obviously you bump into him and you send him into the gravel or onto the grass, that's a penalty, or that's a clear penalty. But if you bump on him a bit, maybe just to nudge him a bit, and you got past him, that's not even a penalty. So I'm hoping for 2 amazing races. Let's hope so.
Do you think our stewards will be strict, or do you think that they will leave some leeway because they are children?
In a way, I hope they're strict, because, as saying, we're talking to people who are real racing car drivers. They have experience in the real world, so applying that to esports shouldn't change the quality of their driving and the quality of their respect for their other drivers. So I would expect them to be strict. Naturally, that's not going to be so strict to the point where you make a contact with a car and you're immediately disqualified. It's give and take. Everything comes measured against the crime you commit. So in that sense, they'll be treated fairly and treated respectfully.
Let's hope. I'm against Simon actually about this one. Let's hope that they're not strict enough. Maybe we can get some bumping around. Not a lot, obviously, like I was saying. Just a bit of bumping. Maybe you nudge him a bit and you can pass him or something like that. But let's hope. Maybe for the seniors they will be a bit stricter, because the seniors know the rule book by heart. They know what they need to do. Obviously, the younger ones, they're not as experienced as the seniors, so maybe there'll be some bumping and barging around. So, and that's what I want. That's real racing. Just bump into each other just a bit, obviously, not to crash someone out. Just a bit, and nudge him off the road. Just a bit. I love that racing.
I think I would tend to agree more with Simon, because I think that yes, I think that as kids they need to learn from their mistakes. So I think being strict would be the right.
Yeah, obviously you have to let them make their mistakes. You have to let them grow as drivers. If you penalize everything too harshly, rather than them having fun in the sport, they're going to kind of get demoralized by it. So it's a bit of give and take between both of our opinions. But I do tend to lean a bit more on the stricter side, just while they're growing, while they're making those mistakes. Now's the time to correct them.
Exactly. That's how you learn. So
Precisely, yeah, exactly.
I'm never on the good side. I always like to cheat a bit.
No.
See, that's the difference between us as people.
So let's go back to seeing the children's sim racing.
So as the shot you're seeing on your screen right now is of our facility here at the Montekristo Estate in Malta. Seated around some of the simulators are some of the drivers. And throughout the race, they'll be in our facility using our simulators on the La Rev track. So the La Rev track is a replica of a circuit here in Halfar in Malta. World Pro Racing has worked diligently to recreate it virtually so that an event like this can take place, where real-life drivers take their experience from a real-life circuit into esports, into the virtual world, and test the limits of what the simulator can do.
It's very nice seeing these children, but we have to go to adverts, and then we'll be right back.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
Welcome back. We are in the official GP Racing Esports Cup 2022, and I'm joined by Mike Luz, the GP Karting Malta, from GP Karting Malta. Hi, Mike. How are you today?
Pleasure to be here today.
What do you think about this race today? And can you tell us a bit more about yourself first and foremost?
So, the race is something that it's been a build-up. I've been working with the WPR to organize this event because esports and karting do marry very well together. There's a wealth of experience that they can give us on esports in terms of telemetry setup, etc. And from our side, we will bring our 30 plus years of experience in karting.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's quite some time.
It's impressive.
It's more than I have been alive.
We've been involved, you know, my uncles, my dad, and me as a kid, racing over here, racing internationally. We've had drivers of ours compete successfully in international events. At the moment, I've got one driver competing in the WSK. He lifted 3 trophies last year in Italy. Okay. So
Great.
we're very proud of Nicholas Taylor, who's followed by his dad, Brian, and that his brothers are accompanying.
So it's been a family thing, that one generation after the other you continue.
Yes, and now I've got my son, Paul,
well.
who's doing very well. He's 7 years old. He's been driving for 3 years. Pride and joy.
Of course, definitely, for sure. I can't imagine that you are a proud dad for seeing him.
Oh, yeah, it's waterworks every time. So
For sure. So what about esports?
So esports, to me, is something new, something that I'm getting into over the last year. We've invested in a simulator for home, and put it this way, I see that the kids getting used to tracks before we travel to international events. You know, it's very helpful for them. The realistic part of it is so extreme that I had one of my colleagues, I can mention Jean, actually bogged the engine coming out of a corner, and he was so involved, he actually jumped on the simulator like you do in a real kart. And I tried lifting up my visor. So that is how realistic these things can be.
Yes, for sure. I mean, it is quite real. Do you have any comments to pass?
Yes, maybe I have some couple of questions. By having esports karting as well, can you see yourself with other kids in a bright future, maybe in other categories? Open wheel, of course.
Yes, it's something that we are working on. I think as GP, we've got the largest group of kids locally. And what we're trying to do is raise these kids to have good track ethics and good performance, obviously.
Okay. How many kids do you have right now?
So at the moment, we start off from a 4-year-old, 5-year-old. Then we have 2 who are 6, 7, 9.
So quite young.
11.
Young ages.
So I think we're about 10 or 12 kids that compete.
That's good.
So nice. Okay. So now we have an interview with Giampiero Cavacciuti, who is the owner of GP Racing. We are going to be interviewing him through online. Obviously, he can't be here with us, but we still can interview him. Hi. Hello,
everyone.
Hi. How are you?
Hello.
Can you tell us a bit more about
yourself?
Good.
Very good to see you.
Great. We're glad to see you too. Can you tell us a bit more about yourself and also about the event that is happening right now here in Malta?
Well, I'm the owner of GP Racing, me and my dad, and we're in this business since generations, starting from my my grandfather, my father, with my uncle, and I mean the whole family was involved in this. And right now, since I met Mike, we started to put together this project in Malta. I didn't know much about motorsports in Malta until I've been there, and there are a lot of people willing to join motorsport. They look at Italy as an example to follow. So we started to put together something, sending cars, going to the track, train some kids, bringing drivers to Italy in our team to grow their experience, and it worked. It worked really well. We started last year, and this project is successful. now this esport thing, I see a bright future for this because I know technology. I love the project, and I think the project is in good hands with Mike.
Thank God.
What do you think about the collaboration of yours with World Pro Racing?
Well, I can't be more happy because I've been there. I saw the simulators, the center. I talked to the owners, and they're very committed to do a good job, and they're doing it. I see that it's a good chance for drivers that cannot go every day at the track like we do here in Italy. So technology is now very good, and the experience in the simulator can be really close to what you feel in a real go-kart. So training on a simulator is good. It's the future. It's the future, and together with real cars, it's what makes a driver driving better.
Do you think that it reflects well being on a virtual sim that it goes well with the real racetrack?
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
Do you think that the virtual sim racetrack compares well to the actual one with real cars?
Yes. I think, as I said, technology is really good. What they show me is impressive in this simulator center. I cannot say it's 100% real for now, but it's super close, and that's what a driver who learn the line, the setup, if it's responsive, and this is good. This is actually what I saw, and it can be only better in the future because I know technology is going better and better every year. So it's gonna get closer, much closer. I've been in the simulated track of Malta, the La Rev, and I can say it is that track. It's the same.
I want to ask a question to you, if I may. Since you obviously you built your own go-karts, which are real go-karts, obviously, do you think maybe in the future you will have a group of people who can build your own go-karts for a simulator rules?
Oh yes. Maybe not in the near future, but this is possible. I mean, not many people will say that, but I think it's true. It's a simulator, a professional simulator driver. One day he will be able to compete with a real driver.
Exactly. Okay, thank you very much.
Mike.
Thank you.
So Giampiero, what can you tell us about him?
Well, I think in the last year I've spoken more to him than I've spoken to my family members, as we're on the phone all the time. We travel quite a lot to Italy. To me, it's more of a family experience now. We do the best for our drivers. We've got the same mentality, and we're always trying to promote the sport more for everyone to access it.
Great. Thank you very much, Giampiero, for being with us. I wish you a lovely weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Giampiero.
Thank you.
Bye.
Ciao.
So back in the studio, what do you expect? I asked the question first to Edwin and also Simon. What do you expect from these kids today?
So from the kids are the future. The kids is what we're focusing on a lot, apart from obviously all other drivers. With this esport event that we intend having an annual event like this, where we will give out the trophies, the GP Cup, and other prizes, we're we expect the kids, one, to enjoy themselves.
For sure.
Two, to get better disciplined when it comes to track ethics and everything like that. And three, to improve their racing lines, the braking points, and obviously look after the cuts.
I think having fun is the most important thing.
That is the most important thing.
Yes.
That is the most important thing.
Yes. So thank you for being guest, Mike.
Thank you guys for having us.
We're going for a short break and then back to the track. Thank you.
Thank you.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
We welcome you all back to our GP Racing Esports Cup 2022. I'm here with Simon and Edwin, and we are in the facilities of Montekristo in Malta. And now we're going to watch our kids race, right, Simon?
Yes, we're going to be going to the track in a few seconds. We're going to be first up. We're going to be watching the junior category from the GP Racing Esports Cup. And here we are. As we cut right to the fact, Paul Aquilina Clues is currently the driver we are following. He's in second place at the moment, about 8/10 off our leader. So, Edwin, this is obviously the first time we're seeing these children really on track. Judging basically from, well, not that, as we see Paul make a slight mistake into the barrier. Oh, do you think we're going to be seeing more of those little mistakes since these drivers are younger, maybe not as experienced?
Yeah, I think we're going to see loads of those mistakes like Paul Aquilina Cruz just did. As I mentioned before, you don't have any feel for any G-force through your body. The only G-force you have is through your hands. So obviously you can't exactly judge how the go-kart will slide into the corners. Obviously, as people, I can't say most of them, but many people know the go-karts aren't meant to be driven like a normal car, as the drive shaft at the back is one single piece. So you have to slide the go-kart around and slide it into the corner as well. So you slide it into the corner and onto the exit as well. So you need that feel of the carts sliding underneath you. Obviously, you can't do that in simulator racing, and that is why it's so challenging. And I am really excited to watch it. As right now we're Paul Aquilina Cruz again, who still did the same mistake at turn 2, as he did in the previous lap. So even Matteo Bertolo, same mistake as they. Yellow flags out now, green flags are out in sector 3 as well. And we're looking at Paul Aquilina Cruz in first place with 49 seconds, 0.13. Then Matteo Bertolo with 3 tenths behind him, and then a big gap to Jamie Vassallo and Alex Vassallo, which are closely matched together with 1.4 and 1.6 seconds. Said the Nathan Feinek is a long way back with 6.9 seconds, but racing it's going to be hard racing between these 5 young drivers, as we watch Paul Aquilina Cruz again with a yellow flag in sector 3.
Yeah, I agree with you that obviously these people are racers at heart. They're going to want to be attacking and overtaking every chance they can. I think the thing we're going to be seeing a lot throughout this practice session is where they're going to be pushing their boundaries, pushing those limits of the car, and making these mistakes we're seeing. As qualifying and then eventually the race goes on, the drivers are going to get a lot more comfortable with the technology and the sim rigs. They're going to get a lot more comfortable with how the cars handle. And so those mistakes are going to dwindle.
And the thing is, they can afford to make mistakes in practice sessions. Obviously, you can't afford to do that in the qualifying session and the race as well. As we're right now on board with Alex Vassallo, who is currently in P4 with 1.6 seconds away from Paul Aquilina Cruz. And as I just said, that he made a big mistake on the exit. And we're right now seeing as well Nathan Feinek. He's in last place with 8.5. The times are tumbling down actually, because Paul Aquilina Cruz, he was on 48 seconds, now he's 47.5 seconds. So Matteo Bartolo needs to pick up the pace a bit, because Jamie Vassallo as well is catching him. So the times are going to tumble down, because as practice sessions do, as they go around, we see Nathan Feinek there, sort of warming his tires up maybe for another lap. Paul Aquilina Cruz still in first place. Let's watch him right now at the last part of the track, which he takes it really well. That's the penultimate corner. Now the final corner, takes it really well. That's it. Now on the start-finish straight, let's see the timing right now. He's 47.5 and stays 47.505. As they tend to run wide at turn 1, and then on the exit they stamp on the throttle, and both of them either run wide or else run to the other side of the track. So it's tricky to get there. Jamie Vassallo now overtook Matteo Bartolo, as I was saying, with 1.8 seconds adrift from Paul Aquilina Cruz.
Edwin, with just few seconds more than 1 minute, do you think that these places are going to be exactly how they are seen now in the final qualifying?
No, I don't think so. Maybe Nathan Feinek, as he's already 8.5 seconds adrift from Paul Aquilina. Maybe he was there. But the real battle, I think, is between Jamie Vassallo, Matteo Bartolo, and Alex Vassallo, if he can pick up the pace. Paul Aquilina Cruz, I think he's long gone already in the practice session, obviously. But qualifying is another thing. Racing is another thing as well.
Yeah,
maybe some mistakes here and there. So, as you see, Alex Vassallo, now we're on board with him. He comes a little bit wide as well on that turn 1 and smashes the kart as well on the round down to turn 2.
I think I'd have to agree with Edwin on the most part, where the times you see for the practice session, sometimes they carry over, but very often they don't. And especially in a situation like this where we're seeing the times changing so differently from minute to minute almost. For Lachlan Clues, it could just be he's got I don't mean got lucky. It could be he's benefited from a very clean lap where the others haven't as much. So, as we see, Jamie Velosa has closed the gap a little bit. It's now 1.4 seconds. If they get a clean lap, if they manage to hook up all the right sectors, I don't think Paula Colina Cruz is completely untouchable.
Yes, the checkered flag now is out with Paula Colina Cruz still in third place. Jamie Vassallo with 1.4 seconds. As we see now, Jamie Vassallo just did a complete mess there of that turn, I think number 7 that is. Matteo Bartolo in P3, 2 seconds behind Jamie Colina Cruz. And then P4, Alex Vassallo, and last is Nathan Fennec with 8.5 seconds at the race. It could change in during the qualifying session and the race, because as we know, how they attack turn 1 and the exit of turn 1, I think is going to be a big clue to at the start of the race.
In fact, Jamie Vassallo has already closed the gap as we cut away from the track there. At the end of the practice session, he was only 7/10 behind.
Exactly.
When you're talking about drivers who are a bit more experienced, and specifically drivers who are still learning the track, learning the karts and all that, 7/10 is not a lot.
No, of
it's
course
not like when you talk about a Formula 1 car, for example, 7/10 is a massive gap. But in situations like this, it really isn't. It's very easy to make up 2 or 3 tenths on a single corner, if not more than that.
No, of course not. Of course not. And obviously, you need to also consider it. And imagine the worst case scenario if someone makes a mistake during a hot, good lap. Jamie Vassallo is there, Matteo Bartolo is there as well. So.
Absolutely.
Who do you think is going to win, guys? Do you have like some maybe favorites from what we've seen so far?
It's hard to say. On the one hand, you can't really discount the lap times that Paul has been making.
Yeah.
Paul Aquilina Clues has been making. At the same time, though, we saw Jamie Vassallo really catching up. So if he can continue that growth, it's very likely that we can have a battle between the two of them, or one of the other three could really shock us out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's unpredictable because if you see, like you said, that time, Paul can take easily a mistake, and someone else will take over.
Yeah, they need to close the gap so someone else can pick up the spoils actually of another driver. So they need to close the gap, and I think Jamie Vassallo is doing a good job in practice session.
So now we're going to the qualifying session.
And immediately into a yellow flag. 6-minute qualifying session here. The karts are just getting out for their first laps. Edwin, we've seen the practice session. We know that Paul Aquilina Clues has some space in him. Do you think he'll be able to continue that into pole, or will the other drivers catch up?
We'll see whether he can, but I think based on the practice session, he looked like he's untouchable. But obviously a small mistake from him on a hot lap, and Jamie Vassallo could be there to pick up pole position himself. We'll see right now. This is Paul Aquilina Cruz, sorry. And he's going around these fast left and right handers, and now he's on the penultimate corner now, and then to the final corner. We see the reference time is going to come through. He's about now charging down the start finish straight, and it's already 48.390. So he's not far away from the fastest lap he did on the practice session. So the speed is there. The lap times are there as well. Now Jamie Vassallo, let's see what he can do now. Up to the penultimate corner and then the final corner as well. This is going to be a banker lap for him. He's on the start of the stage. We're riding on board with him right now. And the banker lap is 0.338 of a second. So the gap is closing between Jamie Vassallo and Paul Aquilina Cruz. And we might see a good scrap between the two of them for qualifying and pole position. And obviously during the race, we see now Paul Aquilina Cruz as well. Let's see if he can improve the time. He did the fastest first sector as well with 0.1 faster, then 0.2 of a second less, then the fastest third sector again. So he's lowered the time as well to 48.112 seconds.
6 tenths now between first and second. And Matteo Bartolo probably a bad lap. They've made a mistake somewhere because 2.6 seconds down, you don't really lose that on general pace, especially considering how he was relatively competitive in the practice session.
Yeah.
So probably made a mistake somewhere, lost a lot of time.
Yeah.
I'm expecting his lap times to drop and him to be a lot more competitive with Paul and Jamie.
Yeah, the thing is as well, even Nathan Fenech, as now he just did a hot lap of Nathan Fenech, and Alex Vassallo didn't even set a time. He's in the pits right now. But 12 seconds to Nathan Fenech, it just isn't fast enough, unfortunately. Paul Aquilina-Cluse is still sort of the man to beat.
He's dominating.
He's dominating the session. But Jamie Vassallo, if he can pull a good lap together, he might get a sniff of pole position as well.
Here's the problem. If you look at the time screen, which has just disappeared unfortunately, only 3 minutes left. That's a lap or two. Remember, because they have to set up a lap, they have to get a clean lap. Time is running out.
Time is running out for Jamie Vassallo, but the lap times, they're sort of there. He just did a personal best third sector. If he aces this third corner, which he did, let's stay on board with Jamie Vassallo and see turn 2 as well, because turn 2, I think, where he is losing a bit of time. Now turn 3, now turn 4, this is the corner where he loses a bit of time because the go-kart slides a lot. Now turn 5 again. He just did the fastest first sector with 0.4 tenths faster than Paul Aquilina-Cluse. Let's stay on board with Jamie Vassallo. If he aces these last couple of corners, he might get pole position as well. Let's stay with him on board right now. Now he's going through this right-hander. This is a tight hairpin right-hander. Now left again, and then onto the final corner, and onto the start-finish straight. Let's see what Jamie Vassallo can do. As he comes on the start-finish line, and he's on pole position. Pole position for Jamie Vassallo. A great lap time, 47.7 for Jamie Vassallo. That's an incredible time. So by doing practice session as well, he did an incredible practice session.
For sure.
He lowered his time, and unfortunately we have a yellow flag in sector 3 and then sector 1 again, sector 3 right now. And Paul Aquilina-Cluse, he needs to pick up the spot. He was going to because he was purple in second sector, but they had to lift off obviously because of the yellow flags.
This is the thing, the yellow flags are going to play a massive part in the remaining minute and a half of this session.
Exactly.
If Paul Aquilina-Cluse cannot get a clean lap, Jamie Vassallo will start on pole.
And the thing is as well, everyone is trying to push. So the yellow flags are inevitable actually, because if you spin around, a yellow flag, you go off the track, a yellow flag as well.
Yes, as you see, if you manage to catch it on the corner of your screen, there are two cars going a bit side by side. There is another yellow flag for, I believe, for Nathan Fenech who will follow it.
I think so. Nathan Fenech right now, he was 12 seconds behind. Now he's 6 seconds behind. So he bettered his lap by half the time deficit that he had. So obviously, we can't say that he... But we cannot say that he's not going to win or not. Whatever happens in the front, someone else could pick up this poise. Turn 1, though, is going to be crucial. Turn 1 and turn 2.
I think I would also add on that consistency is going to be crucial. The less mistakes you make during the race, the easier it's going to be for you to keep your track position and keep a decent finishing spot.
Exactly. We're on board right now with Alex Vassallo. Unfortunately, he just did a yellow sector 1 as well, being collected by another driver there, but Alex Vassallo didn't even set a time right now, so it's with 24 seconds remaining, so I don't think he will make a time as well, because obviously...
Well, he will be allowed to finish this timed lap, as we're following him right now. He sets a personal best, but does stack into the wall, unfortunately. He's going to spin.
Exactly.
That's unfortunately the end of his qualifying session there. He's not going to be able to set a decent time. Unfortunately, that's going to be the person... Someone has to start last. In this race specifically, it's Alex Vassallo.
Paul Aquilina-Cluse then finishes the qualifying session in pole position with 47.4 from Jamie Vassallo, who I thought that he was going to grab pole position actually. 3/10 of a second behind. Then Matteo Bartolo, 3 seconds behind. Nathan Fenech, 6.4. And unfortunately, Alex Vassallo didn't even complete a time lap.
Paul Aquilina-Cluse is on another really good lap. He's got purple in both first two sectors. As he comes around the final corner, is he going to set his benchmark even further ahead? He's currently 3/10 as he crosses the line.
Maybe a sub 47? No.
Does not improve his time, loses in the third sector. But that is our qualifying session then.
Exactly.
Unless Jamie Vassallo on his final lap.
He just did a purple first sector and the personal best second sector. Let's watch Jamie Vassallo right now. who currently is in P2, but unfortunately he lost a lot of time at the third sector. So he's still 0.3 of a second, 3/10 of a second behind Paul Aquilina Cruz. I think the race is between these two.
It's getting really interesting, yeah?
Definitely. And it's getting interesting in a way that I didn't quite expect, where I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, we might be seeing these mistakes kind of diminish. On the other hand, I think what we're actually going to be seeing is them characterizing the race, and it's going to be the drivers who are most consistent to survive.
What do you think, Edwin?
Paul Aquilina Cruz and Jaime Vassallo, they're really close together actually. So I think we have Jessica on the other side of the
yes,
of the studio.
We're going to be joining a call.
Hello, Jessica. Are you hearing us?
Yes.
Hi, Jessica. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Great, great. So you are a GP racing driver, and how old are you?
I'm 9 years old.
Oh, 9 years old. So you feel a bit excited that as a 9-year-old girl, you compete in these races?
Yes, a lot.
And do you like it?
A lot.
Yes. And do you have some family members that you followed their path?
My mom and dad help me with my racing lines and tell me if I do any mistakes.
For sure. So I think they are very proud of you, right?
Yes.
Do you have any questions for Jessica?
Yes. Obviously, how did you get into racing? How did you get a taste for it?
When I was young, I used to always like seeing cars, and I used to always like racing. And when I started growing up, I started wanting to be a driver. So then I found go-karting as my sport.
Well
okay,
done.
That's good. That's good.
Very interesting.
Jessica, one last question, or maybe I don't know. My colleagues want to ask any more questions. From my side, though, what are your expectations as a 9-year-old forward? Are you expecting maybe to win championships? Maybe go on another category of cars?
What are your goals?
This year I'm going to start championships, so I'm hoping that I'll get some good timings that I can go forward on my racing.
That's good. That's good. And do you expect maybe to race internationally as well?
Yes.
Okay, good. Still on go-karts, though? Still on go-karts, Jessica?
No.
Maybe open wheel racing then? Maybe some other motorsport? That's good. Good luck. Keep up the good way, Jessica. We'll be following you as well.
As you are still a young girl, how do you cope with your schoolwork and also training?
I try to fit in everything, but I keep more important in my head. Go-karting.
So it's before your schoolwork.
Yes.
Oh no! Are your parents listening?
Don't worry, we'll hide that. We'll hide that from your mother. It's okay.
Jessica, another question for you. Have you ever won championships here in Malta, nationally championships?
No, because I'm just starting in February.
Okay.
Right.
That's good. Good luck. Hope for the best.
We look forward to seeing you on the track.
See you.
Thank you, Jessica, for being here with us. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Oh my God, she's so cute. 9-year-old girl. Because you don't see any girls. I mean, quite a few women who start from a very young age and continue on through their life. And she seems very enthusiastic to continue and succeeding in her career.
For sure, yeah. It's so heartwarming to see someone at such a young age be really excited with the sport. The fact that she's a girl as well, kind of a sport, because racing is a male-dominated sport. It's unfortunate, but it's just kind of the nature of it is at the moment. Hopefully that changes as society grows and understands that there is no difference between men and women when it comes to their ability to control a car. So she's a really exciting prospect, and she's starting in February. I'm really excited to see her. And yes, basically what I can really comment on is just how amazing it is to see someone that young, that enthusiastic in the sport.
And I think there will be she has to have a balance between schoolwork and training. Yes, she has to. Edwin, what do you think about
Well,
young girls.
Apart from being enthusiastic as well, she seems enthusiastic a lot about
Mm-hmm.
her she racing around the go-kart track. But the thing is as well, being a part of GP racing, of the GP racing community, helps her a lot with everything.
Definitely.
Racing, maybe some funds as well. And who knows, maybe we can see her internationally at the WSK International Championships as well, which is, I think, the most prestigious karting championship in Europe and in the whole world, actually, the WSK. So if we get some GP racing drivers there, like Jessica as well, maybe in the future, maybe there's a bright future for her.
You're
keep up the
absolutely
good
correct.
work.
An opportunity like this, especially for a young girl like her, it's an amazing opportunity to develop your skills and also develop a taste for the sport. So yeah,
Exactly.
hopefully we do manage to see her or someone from GP Racing around in international competition.
And then she needs to keep her head down, obviously, and work hard, because obviously there will be other racers who they will try to push you, obviously, away along the way. So she needs to keep her head down, put some good work and some good lap times, and that's it.
For sure, it's all about that, gaining those experiences, getting those hours in, and that practice,
Exactly.
developing your skill.
I think even the determination that one has to have, because she will also learn to be disciplined in this
Exactly.
training.
Mhm.
So I think that it will be very good for her to keep on, and I think she will keep on. I think we will see her
I agree.
go very far.
She has that fire. Like immediately at 9 years old, being able to say, "Oh, I'm prioritizing racing over schoolwork." Sure,
Yes.
some of us disagree, but it's one of those things where you can really see how enthusiastic she is. And if that energy is matched by the 5 drivers we have racing here in the facility, that is at least 6 people who are taking on this role of someone who's very enthusiastic, very excited, and having fun with racing. And here in Malta, which is a bit smaller in terms of the motorsport scene,
Yeah,
it's so exciting to see and so invigorating to see.
I think apart from the race is going to start. Very excited.
Yeah.
So
We're
let's
gonna
go
cut down to
back
the track now.
to the track and see our race.
As the cars line up onto the track, if you could leave in the comments who you think is going to win. We've seen the practice and the qualifying session, but anything can happen. Nothing ever is consistent in a racing situation. So feel free to leave us a comment. Let us know who you think you're supporting.
I think the start will be crucial as well for both Paul Aquilina and Jamie Vassar. It's going to be a really exciting start, because you need a good power from the engine as well. You can't just floor the throttle and that's it. You need a good start.
For sure, something I think we're going to be very crucial. As you've seen, these drivers, a bit more experienced, maybe make a few more mistakes. They're going to be. This is probably the first time they're going to be racing extremely close together off the start. So for the
Exactly.
first lap or so, they're going to have to be really careful not to hit each other, not to make too many mistakes.
Not to spin around, because obviously
Absolutely.
the guys at the back could pick up the spoils, as we were saying before. So if Jamie Vassallo and Paul Aquilina close tangle with each other, Matteo Bartolo, Nathan Fenech, and Alex Vassallo are there as well behind them.
Also, without those years of experience developing your racecraft, overtaking might be very difficult for them. Now, hopefully, and we assume I might be a bit wrong, as these kids do have real world experience,
Exactly.
they know how to overtake, they'll know how to race against each other. But it's going to be interesting to see how they apply that to the virtual world.
Okay, as the cars came onto the grid, all of them were waiting for the green flag.
Always the most exciting part of
Okay,
races,
so
like build up of tension where you're just
There's
waiting.
tension building up. It's Paul Aquilina Cruz on pole, Jamie Vassallo, Matteo Bartolo, Nathan Fenech, and Alex Vassallo. And the race is going to start. Hopefully, so green flag is up. Green flag is up. And we're waiting, and we go. That's it. Race start. And Jamie Vassallo makes a cracking start on Paul Aquilina Cruz. Jamie Vassallo leads the pack with Paul Aquilina Cruz behind him. Matteo Bartolo, and then Alex Vassallo and Nathan Fenech. As we head down to turn 2, they tangle around. They tangle around. Paul Aquilina Cruz from pole position now is in P4. Jamie Vassallo, Matteo Bartolo, Alex Vassallo, Paul Aquilina Cruz just spun around and made mistake as well, because he's at the back of the field right now. So Jamie Vassallo in P1. Matteo Bartolo, Eric Vassallo, Nathan Fenech, Paul Aquilina Cruz is in last place. The pole sitter is in last place.
How it changed?
It
How
changed
quickly, right?
completely.
This is what we're talking about. Those
my
tiny
God.
mistakes that are so costly,
Yeah.
especially in a small field like this, where you only have 5 drivers. You really don't have any room for error. Paul Aquilina Clue, 49 seconds behind. I'm not sure. He's a lap behind at the current moment. So clearly he's.
That's it.
As-
Jamie Vassallo
as Jamie
just
Vassallo
pinned
has
it.
made a
Jamie
mistake.
Vassallo in the
Oh.
wall. Jamie Vassallo on the wall. Matteo Bartolo picks up his points. Alex Vassallo in second
Oh.
place. Nathan Fenech is in P3. The last man is in P3.
We've said it time and time again. You have to be consistent in order to be at the front. Currently, Matteo Bartolo is doing it perfectly. He's made a couple of very smart errors, but he's kept out of the barriers, he's kept it on the track. And as we can see, he's made up 2 positions for it. As the 2 cars behind him tangle. That is
Exactly,
both
both
Alex
of them.
Vassallo and
And now-
Nathan Fenech.
Let's see.
He's
Matteo
leading
Bartolo is still
the
in
way.
P1. Nathan Fenech in P2. Alex Vassallo, then Jamie Vassallo, and Paul Aquilina Cruz, unfortunately, is in last place, and that's it. That's a DNF. For the pole sitter, that's a DNF. So, Paul Aquilina Cruz didn't even finish the race. He's the pole sitter.
He didn't finish lap 1.
He didn't even finish lap 1, exactly.
Yeah.
Matteo Bartolo now leads the way. A small
Absolutely.
slide on turn 1, but that's nothing to do. Nathan Fenech is behind him with 9.7 seconds. The problem is for Matteo Vassallo, he doesn't need to do those many mistakes as Nathan Fenech would catch him up. The battle now is between Nathan Fenech and Alex Vassallo, who are 10 and 11 seconds behind Matteo Bartolo. So between them, there's less than a second. This is Matteo Bartolo. We're riding on board with him to this left-hander, this tight-haired left-hander, to the penultimate corner, and then the right-hander, the final corner. And as we see, Jamie Vassallo now as well is behind this pack, and Nathan Fenech just made a mistake as well. He just pinned it to the wall there. So Jamie Vassallo now is in P3, Nathan Fenech is last, and Paul Aquilina Cruz, he didn't even finish a lap, unfortunately. He's the end.
Yeah, it is very unfortunate. We're looking now at Matteo Bartolo. He is our leader at the moment. He's in a very interesting position because on one hand, he has acres of space behind him. He can't kind of take it slow. He can't just drive a clean race. But at the same time, if he does make those mistakes, the buffer, 14 seconds is a lot of time, but it's not enough for like a mistake to gap reverse, reset your car, and then get back onto the rhythm of the track. So he's just got to keep it clean. If he doesn't make any mistakes, he doesn't make any too costly mistakes, he could very easily just drive away with this race.
Exactly. Right now, as the race is right now, as we are on board with Matteo Bartolo as well, he's going to lap Nathan Fenech as well. As it is right now, the race, as it panned out actually, it's a race of survival. You need to survive. Matteo Bartolo now comes behind Nathan Fenech, who doesn't even know that Matteo Bartolo is about to lap him. He just did right now. And there's a yellow flag in secondary. Now he's gone away with green flag. The problem is for Matteo Bartolo, Jamie Vassallo had really good race pace. He does know the track really by heart. 14.9 seconds to adrift from Matteo Bartolo with 8 minutes to go, or 7:50 to be precise. Doesn't seem a lot for 16 seconds. If Matteo Bartolo does make a mistake, Jamie Vassallo could be there to pick up the points once again and maybe win the race.
Agreed. Having said that, though, assuming Matteo Bartolo doesn't make a mistake, 15 seconds is a big gap. We can't really discount how much time you have to make up. In 7 minutes on pure pace alone, it will be a very tall order for Jamie to catch up. I personally can't see him doing it without a mistake from Matteo Bartolo. But again, the thing with racing is you make these mistakes, you're going to have these slight incidents, the slight wrong inputs. So it's going to be interesting to see if Matteo Bartolo can keep it clean. He's in the perfect position to do it.
The thing is, both of them, they're driving the go-karts really, really well. Matteo Bartolo's keeping to his lines, keeping to his curbs as well. And I think Jamie Vassallo just did a mistake. Somewhere Jamie Vassallo, I think, made a mistake because he's now 17 seconds adrift from Matteo Bartolo. So Matteo Bartolo has got this race maybe in the bag. Maybe, obviously. We cannot judge because 6 minutes with 6 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Anything could happen.
I agree with you. And we're following Jamie Vassallo now. We can see he is driving the car very well. He is not making mistakes that we've seen some of the other drivers make. But there is that little experience here. It's not always right in the as like.
And Jamie Vassallo just made a complete mess of that corner right now. He's 32 seconds adrift from Matteo Bartolo. Matteo Bartolo now has got the race under control actually. 40 seconds to Jamie Vassallo. Jamie Vassallo just went off the track and just went straight at the corner where he was following Nathan Fenech.
We've just gotten word that Alex Vassallo has been given a 10-second penalty for causing a collision with Paul Aquilina Clues, which would have been on the first lap, and I assume led to him retiring from the race. I believe that Alex Vassallo has also retired at this current moment, so maybe it's not going to really affect the race too much, but unfortunate for him for having that collision right at the start.
Yeah, with 3 DNFs right now. Jamie Vassallo just made a mistake, lapping Nathan Fenech there, and he's DNF as well. Alex Vassallo DNF, Paul Aquilina Cruz is DNF as well. So that makes just a 2-horse race actually. Matteo Bartolo now is still in the lead, assuming he doesn't even make a mistake, which I don't believe he will. And we didn't even believe that he will win the race as well.
Yes. So.
Yeah. But this is what we're saying. We said right from practice that if a driver can keep their nose clean, they have a very good chance of winning the race. So far, with 5 minutes left, Matteo Bartolo has done just that. He's kept it clean, as I say, that commentator's curse, he goes off the track. But he recovered really well. He's back on the track. He's been kept in a straight line and just continues going. His only real challenger, Nathan Fenech, is a lap behind, so he really doesn't need to push his car too hard. He's in a perfect position to just drive home.
With 4 minutes and 40 seconds to go, he could cruise along. Yep. Nathan Fenech is a lap behind, so it doesn't even make a difference for him. Matteo Bartolo, he just did a brilliant race from start to finish, sort of, because he picked up the spoils where the others tangled. He was there to pick up everything. That's what we are saying during practice and qualifying sessions. You need to be close so that when other drivers do a mistake, you can be there to pick up everything, whatever the others leave behind.
Absolutely. We're currently on board with Nathan Fenech. He was one of those drivers who, at the beginning, we overlooked him a little bit. He wasn't the most consistent driver through practice and qualifying, but he is going to finish second place, which, again, is a testament to the fact that if you manage to finish the race, you're going to finish ahead of cars that people would assume are maybe faster, maybe have a better understanding of the track or the car than you. And Nathan Fenech, I think, has done a really good job of proving to us and everyone that you don't need to be the fastest driver to still get a good finishing position.
Exactly. You just need to use your head sometimes, and that's what Matteo Bartolo just did there. Paul Aquilina Cruz, unfortunately, I don't think he did use his head, especially at the start of the race, with lap 1 being in last.
Yeah.
From pole to last in maybe, 7 corners.
However, judging by the penalty given for Alex Vassallo, it might not have been entirely his fault. As we see, Matteo Bartolo again making a mistake again off the track. It's so easy to do. That's Nathan Fenech, in fact, having a spin. Again, commentators
again
guess.
At turn 1. Turn 1 is really tricky for these youngsters because you get the corner really fast. And there's a small curve as well at turn 1. So it's really difficult to get the corner up. As we see right now, we're on board with Nathan Fenech right now, who's a lap behind, unfortunately. Matteo Bartolo is still the leader with 2 and 39 seconds left of racing. A green flag right now along the whole track. And this is the bit I was talking about. Let's hope these seniors won't do the same mistakes. As we see Matteo Bartolo just judge that turn 1 beautifully. Turn 2 right now for Matteo Bartolo. Now turn 3 as well. We're still right on board with him, so we get a good view of this Larry Maltese circuit. We're right now in turn 5, sorry. This left-hander down the chicane. And then again to this right-hand turn over here, and then turn 8, turn 9.
Matteo Bartolo is doing absolutely everything he needs to. Lavinia, if you're Matteo Bartolo, how much are you going to want that timer to just end already?
I mean, he's been in first position for 6 minutes straight, I believe. So, if I was Matteo, I would slow and steady. I wouldn't go too fast, I wouldn't go too slow, just relax, you know? He doesn't need to rush it through. I don't believe so.
I agree with you 100%. He's in a position, he's far enough ahead.
Of course.
And he's also benefiting from the fact that there's only one competitor left. So he really can go at an entirely snail's pace, just run out the timer.
It's a one-man race right now.
Yep.
Matteo Bartolo still in first position, the leader right now. Nathan Fenech in P2, Aleb behind, and unfortunately we had Jamie Vassallo, Alex Vassallo, and Paul Aquilina Cruz, who did not finish the race. They're both the three of them are DNFs. Paul Aquilina Cruz, as we round up this race, he started in pole position, then he made a complete mess of that first lap, tangled with Jamie Vassallo, and ended up in last place before he took himself out by crashing into the tire barrier, and unfortunately for him, that was an instant DNF. Riding on board right now with Matteo Bartolo. This is the last this is the last sector actually of the Larave circuit here in Malta Halfa Raceway. Final corner for Matteo Bartolo with 6 seconds to go. So this would be the last lap, hopefully, with 0 minutes gone. That's it. That's the checkered flag is out. Unfortunately, Matteo Bartolo, at the last corner, he tangled with the barrier. Still, he's going to win. So Matteo Bartolo wins the race. Nathan Fenech, a lap behind, in second place. Then Jamie Vassallo, Alex Vassallo, and Paul Aquilina Cruz, who did not finish the race.
It wasn't a graceful final lap, but congratulations to Matteo Bartolo. Drove a really good race, drove a really consistent race, and an absolutely well-deserved win.
And I think what he did also, he drove a race with using his mind and using his head as well. He didn't use just his heart and seeing turn 1. So it was a good race. And obviously, even Nathan Fenech, I did not think for a minute that he would finish on the podium. Obviously, the other guys did not finish the race, but still, P2 still have second place. Yeah. You still get a trophy. So the problem was at that lap 1. Paul Aquilina Cruz, he needs to focus more on those starts. If he does that on a real life karting track, that's not a good start, actually. But tangling with second place and then ending up last and finish the race.
Yeah, I agree with you. Again, obviously, Paul Aquilina Cruz was unfortunate with tangling with Alex Vassallo on lap 1. I do wonder what would have happened if he could have finished the race. But as it stands, we saw so many of the people we thought, like Paul Aquilina Cruz and Jamie Vassallo, making those really crucial mistakes that just took them out of the running. Even Matteo Bartolo, right at the very end, on a different corner, if he was traveling faster, that crash could have taken him out. I don't want to say lucky, but he benefited from the fact that he had the time to reverse it. He had the time to correct his mistake and finish the race in P1. If he hadn't, Nathan Fenech would have won the race, which is something that I don't think either of us saw happening.
You need to close the gap. You need to not do silly and stupid mistakes, actually. You need to be close to the opponent. And let's see what the seniors will do as well, because that turn 1 is really tricky. There's a small curb at the entry of turn 1. At the exit, then it might compromise the go-kart. It compromises the whole balance of the go-kart.
Definitely. Well, we're now about to set up for our senior race, where some of the older drivers will come in, take the kids' place, and race around this track. So we're going to be taking a short break, and join us again for the second race.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
Senna was a god. No one could even dream to follow him.
I'm from a very humble background.
The role of women at that time were really difficult.
This is so dangerous. You are risking not only your life, but also my life.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
Senna was a god. No one could even dream to follow him.
I'm from a very humble background.
The role of women at that time were really difficult.
This is so dangerous. You're risking not only your life, but also my life.
Senna
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real. World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real. World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
Welcome back to World Pro Racing, where we're hosting the GP Racing Esports Cup 2022 tonight. Joining us today, we have Justin Mifsud, the CEO and founder of World Pro Racing, who's going to talk to us a little bit about the event and the future for World Pro Racing.
Welcome, everybody. I first of all apologize to everybody out there, all our broadcasting stations, for the very late broadcast. Unfortunately, this was not from our side, but at least we made it happen for you out there. So sorry for the wait. First of all, thank you as well for your commentary the past year as well. And yeah, World Pro Racing, as many people know now, that it's an internationally recognized brand, and this year's aim is to continue grow, not just in viewership, but we want more to interact with our community, bring more drivers, bring more young talent. We change the level of mentality of our local drivers by, hiring the self-esteem. There's no difference between a local driver and a foreign driver. Let's forget the opportunities or resources out there, but still, if you're capable of, with your mind, that you're going to do it, you can do it. We can say this by us as World Pro Racing. We're Maltese. We had a plan, we had a vision, and we are doing it. Okay, and we started with no budget. So when you believe in something, you can do it, and everybody out there can do the same. So that is the plan this year. We have plenty of events. We have the website soon to be launched. We have developers working on it, and it's not just about having a new website. It's about more content, more sophistication, more. It's a technical thing. So even for application purposes, the booking form for our facility, a lot of connections and synchronizations, we're improving by not seeing our flaws or mistakes or anything, but always improving, not year by year, but every single second. That's what we do. Every single session, we see what we have done wrong, and we continue to improve. And that's how you continue to grow as a person, as a company, looking and finding those bad decisions or whatever you did wrong, and you change them into something positive.
Regarding this year, Justin, what plans do you have this year? What championships do you plan? Last year we had the GT Championship, it was amazing finish as well. This year we started with go-karting, simulator go-karting. What other championships do you plan on having?
So championships, we have some that were held every year. Like the Sprint Series, hopefully the HyperX Open Series again, which will be open to everybody, but this time the website has more, it's more complex, so you're not just about competing or joining the race and then you miss the race by forgetting or you cancel, and it's like nothing. If you cancel something, it's like canceling your day for work. That's how it is now. World Pro Racing, that's why it's named as World Pro Racing, not because it's for pros only. We build drivers to become pro. Pro is not just being an alien. Alien, we call them aliens, the fast drivers, the sim racers. It's not about that, no. You could be a fast driver, but you're not professional. Professional in what way? It's not about getting paid as a sport, as a job. That's being professional. But knowing how to speak in front of a camera, basically a whole driver development. That's how you build a professional driver, and that's why we named it as World Pro Racing.
You put education at very much the forefront of your business. How are you going to continue that throughout the year and into the future?
Repeat, please, again.
So you put education at the forefront of your business. You make it a very strong point to educate drivers, educate people who are getting into the sport. How do you plan to continue that throughout the year?
I mean, when you have a newborn, you have to start teaching him how to walk. So you have to start from someone who has just started, in this world. But that's not enough. By teaching you as a newborn in motorsport, it's not going to make a big difference. Why? Because when you go home and when you go to your parents who are not educated, nothing changed. Because they have to give the permission. So if they don't believe in esports or motorsport in general, then you're teaching or educating the young driver for nothing. Because, when you're a 5, 6, 7, you're not going to take decisions yourself. So if your parents do not accept or agree with you competing in esports or participating, then you're being trained for nothing. You're not being even trained because they won't even let you to come here. So we are changing this, that esports is not just a game, and we have to educate both the parents and children, both male, female, any race, any gender, everybody.
In that regard, hearing from Jessica earlier that how supportive her parents have been with her taking up racing, starting to learn with you and here at World War Racing, that must be really nice to hear and really warm to the feeling, knowing that your message is being reached.
Yeah, this is for those who do not know us who we are, our vision, what we think. This is who we are. It's not about the investments and millions that many companies talk about in esports. Where are the drivers? We have to make a healthy community, and that's how you make people professional. Not just about, it's not just about that part where you are getting the revenue for the business, because of course we have to work on that as well. Continue to grow, the business has to grow, but it's not the first priority. We push on these things because we do this job, which is not a job, but it's like a normal word to say, because we love the sport, we love people growing in the sport, and with passion, nothing else. If this turns into a job for me, I will resign. I think we need to go on track now.
Is there any chance that you do another karting sessions like today? Maybe get local karting drivers to race in simulator karting?
Yes, there were many plans, but nothing is going to be announced today.
No, of course.
Yes, I think the practice session has started.
Right, then we will cut to the track.
That's it.
Yes,
We have
practice session
10
is
new
all right now.
drivers taking to the track. These are our senior division, so they're a little bit older than the drivers we saw earlier. Would have more experience in both real-life racing and perhaps esports. Maybe not. But as we cut to the track immediately, we can see straight away that the lap times are a lot faster than we saw from the earlier. Edwin, you were obviously commentating with me. You saw how the kids were handling the track, how the mistakes they were making where they were fast. What are your first impressions from looking at these drivers? How they're different, how they're similar to the other drivers we saw earlier?
Yeah, first of all, the kartings as well, the go-karts are essentially faster as well, but the times tumble down a lot because we're doing 48s and 47s. Now we're doing 41 and a halves. So, and it's really packed with Gauci, Borg, Staffrach, and Greg and Patch, sort of Muscat as well. The first 6 are in a second between all of them. And then we have Borg in the second behind, another Borg 1.1 seconds, Grishti and Camilleri, unfortunately, 10 seconds behind. But Nicky Gauci with a 41.3 seconds, that's an impressive time, comparing it to Ryan Borg, which is 7/10 behind him. And it's interesting how they tackled turn 1 before. Simon, I was saying before that turn 1 is a bit tricky for the youngsters. Not so much for these guys, because they're sort of flat out in turn 1. So they're completely they understood the track, and they're really quick, especially Nicky Gauci.
Yeah, of course. I mean, these are there are drivers who are experienced, like for example Nicky Gauci. There are those who they have less experience, but still, as you can see from the timing, I mean, there's not much of a this, gap, apart from Kylie Camilleri, who still, needs to get the hang of the track, possibly that she never even used a simulator, who knows. This is the good thing of it before the practice session finishes, because the times do not count, but at least we have some identification of what time are doing, is that this is something that to remember and think about, that sometimes people, especially local drivers, they are afraid because they are going to come last. You know what? At least you know where you are.
Exactly.
And you move from there, going up that ladder and come first.
Exactly.
If you don't start from somewhere, if you're not going to compete, you're worse than last. And there's no worse. I just said worse because, you're worse than last.
Exactly.
You're not even in the championship or race, whatever it is. So it doesn't matter. Just keep on working on it, and then you go off the ladder.
Exactly.
Couldn't agree more. The practice session has now come to an end. Edwin and Justin, the top 6 are separated by a second. A very big difference that we saw from the first race. How do you think that's going to affect, first of all, the qualifying session, and second of all, the race?
Well, Nicky Gauci seems really strong, obviously, because 7/10 on Ryan Borg, that's a huge gap. But as we said before, Simon, that's nothing compared from practice to qualifying. Qualifying, you're going to go all out, flat out, every corner of every hot lap that you're trying to do, and try to grab pole position. And obviously, race start is going to be crucial as well. So we'll see how it pans out. As it is right now, Nicky Gauci seems strong, 7/10 faster than Ryan Borg and Andrew Staffraj, Liam Gregg, Eman Muscat, Jake Parch, Nicky Borg, Lance Borg, Ivan Grishti, Kylie Camilleri in last place, who has improved obviously, because right now 9.9 seconds instead of the 10 seconds that she had before.
Couldn't agree more. I do think that the midfield is going to be where all the battling takes place, is going to be where the real excitement happens. I do think, the way nature of races we saw in the first race, the leader is not necessarily the person who's going to cross the finish line in first. These are not long races, but there's enough time to make mistakes and to make gains. So with enough racecraft, with enough planning and strategy, I think you can really make a good claim for the lead.
The thing is also that there are 10 drivers now, and since the track is not long, they need to give space to each other, or they're going to miss a good time if they're not going to give space to each other, or somebody ends up crashing or anything, and
yellow flag is
you
going
end
to
up
be
losing
crucial.
your best time. So it's going to be a tricky one as well when you have such short track, and when you have that short, very gaps between the first 6 drivers. It means that they're going to push quite a lot.
And this is it. It's qualifying session right now. These are the first banker laps that are going to come in from Nicky Gauci and Ryan Borg and Andrew Staffraj. We are on board right now with Nicky Gauci going through this right-hander, then left-hander, that's the penultimate corner, and onto the final corner. And let's start this first flying lap. Let's hope we stay with Nicky Gauci. First 10 negotiated perfectly. We say that exactly. There is a yellow flag in sector 1. That's Andrew Staffraj.
Unfortunately, 2 cars coming together, one hitting the wall and bouncing back into the track. That is something that the drivers have to be aware of when you have walls that close, specifically tire walls. They're going to throw the cars back into the track. You have to have really good reaction time to avoid a crash.
Exactly, and obviously the reaction time, and obviously yellow flags. As soon as the yellow flag is out, you need to obviously lift off your foot from the accelerator pedal. So we see right now Andrew Staffraj, we're on board with him. He was just setting purple sectors, but Nicky Gauci, I think, beat him to it, because sector times right now for Andrew Staffraj are green. So that's a personal best for him, and that's another personal best. That's 42.81 seconds. Andrew Staffraj in second place, Nicky Gauci on provisional pole right now. That's 42.407. Andrew Staffraj 4/10 behind him. Ryan Borg 6/10 behind him. As we see another yellow flag in sector 1, that I think there was another driver there who is caught out by the first corner. That first corner is tricky, Simon. I was telling you all evening, the first corner is really tricky.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And as you were explaining earlier, for the people who are joining us now, it's an interesting case because drivers because of the nature of the corner, they want to take as much room as they can. But there's a very nasty curve that just throws the car wide.
Exactly.
And once you're out there, once you're on the grass, it's so difficult to keep control of these carts.
As the go-kart bumps, it shoots you off the track, actually. There's another yellow
Here's
flag.
a perfect example
and that's
of it.
a Nico
Borg,
Borg,
unfortunately.
unfortunately. That's turn 2 or 3, I think. That's Nico Borg. That's his lap is over right now. We're on board with him, and we're also watching him. They're learning the track, because obviously they know the track, but naturally they know the track. They don't know it's on simulator racing. So that's another thing to consider. It as Nicky Gauci right now is flying away. That's a big gap right now to Strafraj. It's almost 5 tenths right now. Ryan Borg is on pole position. That's an impressive time from Ryan Borg. 41.609. Ryan Borg on professional pole. Nicky Gauci in second place. That's half a second off. Ryan Borg right now is on another lap, which is already 2 seconds behind on the first sector. We're on board with him right now. That's Ryan Borg. We're looking at him right now. He's on professional pole, 41.609 with 3 minutes and 20 seconds left, Simon.
Interestingly, though, I do believe Nicky Gauci went, if not faster, at least comparably in the practice session. So we know he has some more speed in him. It'll be interesting to see if in these last few minutes of qualifying he can really make a comeback and attack Ryan Borg for that pole position spot.
The thing is,
I think Ryan Borg has made a mistake.
Yeah, exactly, and he's brought out the yellow flag, and that could catch up as well. Nicky Gauci, this is Kylie Camilleri, who is she's in P8, so that's a good improvement from the lap times she was doing before. Unfortunately, Jean-Pierre Attard, he didn't even do a hot lap yet. And these are 3 of them. That's Kylie Camilleri. And this is the problem, Simon, that you were saying. Traffic is crucial here on this short track.
Definitely. You need to find your own space to allow yourself to show your speed without A, slowing up someone else, and B, getting slowed down by someone. As you see, another driver making a mistake.
Exactly.
And
Kylie Camilleri, obviously, she got caught out as well. And all 3 of them right now, or the 4 of them. That's... while they're doing this, Ryan Borg is still on professional pole. And if they can't go do a hot lap, Ryan Borg is still going to be on pole position.
But, interestingly, Nicky Gauci has closed the gap a lot. It's only 1/10
now. Yeah, exactly. We're
and
still
in fact,
on
as
board.
I say that, Nicky Gauci has gone on pole by
Exactly.
less than a
by
10,
4/100ths of a second.
It's going to be very close between those 2. We're watching Nicky Borg now as he's on another timed lap. A bit slower, a second slower down the same, but probably taking it easy, cooling off his tires, cooling off his brakes before he goes for another really push lap in the final minute.
This is Nicky Gauci. We're looking at him right now. We're on board with him. Nicky Gauci is second off already in the first sector. Ryan Borg was going to do another hot lap, but unfortunately, I think he spun off at turn 4, Simon, and brought out the yellow flags.
But, saying that, I think he will have enough time to get another hot lap, as will Nicky Gauci. This will probably be Nicky's last hot lap.
Last lap, yes. It's
he will
there
get
is
a
a
chance to
minute.
get a
No, he
second.
will have two other laps.
Yeah, it's a question of if he can keep his brakes and tires cool enough to have a second lap.
I'm hoping to catch Ryan Borg. Maybe the direction could go on Ryan Borg. He's 4/100ths of a second behind Nicky Gauci. I'm trying to see where is he as we're watching right now on board with Leon Greg. Leon Greg is not far off actually. 1.1 seconds of the pole position in P4. That's an impressive and good time from Leon Greg. Let's hope we can get a shot of Ryan Borg. Maybe he's getting on another hot lap. We're looking right now at Leon Greg because she's doing an incredible job actually. Yeah? She's in P5 right now. There's a yellow flag in Sector 1 once again, so someone spun off there. I'm trying to look for Ryan Borg, if the direction can get Ryan Borg on board. I'm trying to see for his lap time.
We are on board with Ryan Borg right
that's
now.
That's it.
As qualifying ends, this is going to be Nico's last lap. As Ryan Borg comes through the second sector, entering the last phase of the race. Of the lap, I mean.
That's it.
First and second.
That's it. It's all over for Ryan Borg. That's 9 seconds off from the first sector, and the checker flag is out. So Nicky Gauci is going to take the first pole position at the national karting championship here in Malta. So amazing job.
I think one thing is going to change the race from how it is right now as a pole position. If everybody tries to, get the position from turn one.
Absolutely.
The usual thing that we say, well, please, you're not going to win from turn one, even though you can, but it's very risky. So, there's a very small gap between Ryan and Nicky. Andrew is not that far. Eman the same. So, top four are going to push for it. And the only thing that's going to change by doing a mistake or a crash, or a heavy crash,
definitely,
that may change everything.
Again, we saw from race one how quickly it is, how easily it can be for someone to be caught up in an accident and be dumped down the order. If that happens to one of our drivers here today, we could be seeing a very different finishing order than we have to the qualifying order.
Like this, we say that as well. I was looking at the timing of Kylie Camilleri, and she improved a lot. She's just 4 seconds of the leader, so of Nicky Gauci. So let's hope for a good race. I think we're going to have a good, exciting race as well. 10 drivers, they're all hungry actually to get that first win at the karting simulator here we're having right now, the event we're having today. So it's going to be interesting race. As Justin said as well, they don't need, I don't think they need, obviously, to tangle around at the first corner. You don't need to get the first position at the first corner. You just need to let the race flow by. It's going to be a 15-minute race, so you have all time to do the decisions and race hard as much as you can. But if it could be as well like the junior race. It could be a race of survival. But looking at Nicky Gauci, I think he's going to romp away actually with this race.
We don't need to exclude also that we always say that be cautious for turn one or even the first lap. But still, we're not excluding and saying don't push because it's a race.
They're races. They're going to push
we're
with the
motor
yellow.
racing.
Get some bumping,
somebody said, we're motor racing.
Exactly. And there's going to be some wheel-to-wheel racing and bumping around for sure.
Of course.
But that's motor racing. That's what we love actually. I mean, 10 hungry drivers, which are all of them experienced. They're all sort of professional in what they do. They're just now applying their skills on a simulator karting.
I agree. Like we've heard 100 times, the race is not won at 10-1. It's like you're saying, probably a 15-minute race. They're going to have more than enough laps to make gains and make losses. They really have to judge when to attack and when to defend, when to hold back, so that they're not ruining their race by being over-aggressive.
And this is something that it's something very important. This is the first year of the GP Racing Esports Cup 2022, which is going to be held every year.
Exactly.
So this is not something that, hey, I just want a casual race. You're going to be crowned champion of the GP Racing Esports Cup 2022. So, I mean, I'm sure that even though it's for many other people who are maybe skeptic about video games, which is not, this is a simulation software or game. It's something that you should work hard for, even though it's just a game. So this means people do not know out there that they don't even know what opportunities they're going to get from just this race. Why? I mean, we're broadcasting around the world. ESTV, Motorsport.tv, we are on TVM Sport. I mean, ESTV by itself, they have over 20 channels, not only in US, but across the world. Here we can see the warm-up.
That's the warm-up, yes.
Yeah, they use it just for, the warming up and getting that racing mode and focus. This is something that we focus on as well. Focusing is very important. I mean, I know many fast drivers, but they end up ditching the car in the first few laps. Why?
Exactly.
Pressure, somebody's chasing you. So these are things that you need to focus on in sim racing. Same as you do in real life. For example, when I compete, which is one of my targets this year, that I will compete in a championship if I have time, which many people are aware that I don't. But maybe midnight or something like that. Last time I did a race in a US time zone and I competed there. I mean, I was so happy that I kept that experience or that I had back then. I mean, I didn't compete in a race like 6, 7 or even more years.
Well,
not competing competitively. So even if I lose the control of the car, I do my best not to crash or anything. So that's how these drivers need to use their simulation. Now it's their choice. Either take it for fun or take it as a career, which leads you to motorsport. Now, sim racing can help you do that as well. Especially if you don't have budget to get into karting, especially as well.
Exactly.
I think there's something beautiful about that, where for the drivers who maybe aren't too interested in a professional career, they can enjoy it for fun. But the space is there, and it's advanced enough that the ones who do want to take it professionally have more than enough opportunities to actually make it in the esports industry.
Yeah, in fact, there are league organizers who create fun events. We create fun events with a professional environment. For example, we have Adrian and George, who are licensed through MMF from the FIA, so they are real stewards and race direction. They are giving their experience to these drivers, not by just giving them penalties when they do something wrong, but we teach them or educate them how to react if something happened to you. You think it's not your fault, and you don't be aggressive. And this happens in Malta, unfortunately, because they are not educated enough how to control such situation. There should be a team manager that manages these things and go to the race director. And that's how this should be. And people are not aware of this education, which we're focusing on. Something which is important, not just as a driver, but even the whole team.
Yeah.
In a motorsport team, the driver, engineer, there should be the roles that, hey, this is the person that takes decision for the driver. That's why there are team managers out there. So we need to think professionally, like we have even team managers and everything. If you want to get that career in motorsport, now it's up to you how you put your mindset out there to become professional or not.
I couldn't agree more. I'm going to change tack very slightly. We've just seen an incredible practice session followed by a very entertaining qualifying session and now a warm-up. What are your expectations? What are your hopes going into the race? Who do you think is going to win? Who do you think might struggle?
Again, Nicky Gauci was really strong in warm-up as well. He just took P1 as well. So he might be the favorite actually to win the race. But obviously, qualifying and warm-up is another thing to the real race. So we might see Ryan Borch obviously taking maybe P1 at the first corner. Maybe at the start he could jump Nicky Gauci. Well, we'll see what pans out actually.
I think if I had to put money on a winner, at the current moment, it would be either Nicky or Ryan.
Well, Nicky Gauci is looking strong. He has looked strong on all. He topped up all sessions, actually.
Yeah,
he topped up practice, he topped up warm-up, he topped up qualifying sessions with pole position. So, not a commanding pole position, obviously, because 4/10 of Ryan Borch, that's a nothing. But he still topped it up. He still topped up all the sessions. So, it's looking good. It's looking good for Nicky Gauci.
Definitely. Justin, if you had to put your money on one of the drivers, who are you supporting? Who's your backing?
I think Nicky is one of the most experienced karting drivers, but it doesn't mean that if you are experienced, you do not make mistakes.
Of course
Everybody does. It's all about the pressure. It's all about, could be that's Ryan or somebody else just missed the braking point or something like that, and they crash into him or whatever. So in such races, you don't know what might happen. But I think there will be a good fight between Nicky and Ryan, and hope this will be enjoyable. There won't be any DNFs, hopefully, and everybody enjoys the race.
Absolutely. What you can see on your screen at the moment is our actual facility here in Malta, the World Pro Racing facility, where 10 of our simulators are being occupied by the incredible GP Racing racers, which is very exciting for us to have these incredible races here in our studio.
There we go.
But now, we come back to the grid.
We're gonna let's hope that there is a clean first corner at the first level. We're waiting for the green flag. Nicky Gauci on pole position, Ryan Borch in P2, Andrew Staffraj P3, Amal Muscat P4, Leon Gregg P5, Nico Borch P6, Lance Borch P7, Jake Patch P8, Jean-Pierre Attal P9, and lastly Kylie Camilleri in P10. We're still awaiting for the green flag.
There's a countdown. Nicky's quite relaxed.
He looks relaxed, really.
Yeah, I need a cupcake or something. He's quite relaxed. Let's hope everybody's relaxed. And being too much relaxed and overconfident might cause problems.
It's very much a balance between being relaxed and ready to go, but also focused.
That's it, green flag, guys. We're about to go in 1 second, and we are off. That's a great start by Nicky Gauci. Ryan Borg made an even better start. Nicky Gauci just shut the door. Ryan Borg in P1, and that's a massive crash. That's gonna bring out the yellow flag in sector 1. Eman Muscat is leading the race right now. Jake Page in P2. Kylie Camilleri is in P3. Jean-Pierre Attard is in P4. Ryan Barge is P5. Nicky Gauci, then Lance Borg, Nico Borg, Liam Gregg, and Andrew Staff Raj.
We'll see. Maybe we'll hear from the race director. The decision is going to be taken. I mean, there's been a lot of damage. I think there were bumpers.
That's safety car. That safety car. There's some. We are slow right now. There's SC marking on the board right now.
Yep.
That's safety car. Safety car.
Yep.
It needs to, because there was a lot of debris, obviously.
We'll
so
see.
Eman Muscat is still the leader. Kylie Camilleri in P2 and Jake Page in P3. No overtaking, of course, because there is a lot of debris on the track.
You talk a lot about.
I think I jinxed it. I said it. I mean, it was a bit further up from the first corner, but this is what happens when, you know, that pressure, that excitement, too much adrenaline. I mean, bumpers. In fact, it's going to be restarted.
It's going to be restarted. Yes, race is going to be restarted. That's the best thing, actually.
I mean, this is something it's good to note, because there's a countdown now again to talk about this. I think for the past 5 years, we restarted events, or I mean race starts 3 times. We don't do it unless there was a major
crash. Yeah.
Incident, and the thing is, what I thought it did, I think Ryan Borg just moved away onto the side of Nicky Gauci. He was in front, of course. Nicky Gauci, I think, in my opinion, should have lifted off a bit. He just went up the grass and spun off. And obviously, what happened afterwards was just the consequence of Nicky Gauci going off track.
But ironically, there were actually 2 separate accidents. Further back, someone was doing exactly the same thing, made the exact same mistake. So in a situation like that, where you have so many cars affected, so many cars damaged, I do agree with restarting the race, giving everyone a blank slate.
Exactly.
Like, okay, essentially saying, okay, we understand that was a bit chaotic. Take it a bit easier next time. Try not to make the same mistake.
Exactly.
But essentially, learn from this, and for your sake as well as everyone else's, do a bit better. Yeah.
Obviously,
like, be a bit more cautious, rather. Do a bit better, a bit harsh.
As well, Ryan Borg did an excellent start, actually, in P2. And the dirty side of the track, actually, because the clean side is on Nicky Gauci's side, is on the pole position side. He did an excellent. At the first phase of the start, it looked like Nicky Gauci did an incredible start, actually. But then at the second phase of the start, Ryan Borg came on to him and was about to start the second start right now. Pole position for Nicky Gauci once again. And now, obviously, the grid is formed from the qualifying session.
We don't have access here from here. There's, first of all, thank you to Nathan Vella, who's directing the broadcast now for the senior race. Something that we do a lot apart from racing, because it's not just about racing. It's about even the opportunities around it. 5 seconds remaining.
Green flag once again. Let's see if Nicky Gauci can hold his pole position. And we are off. Nicky Gauci once again did a great start, and Ryan Borg once again leads into the first corner. So Ryan Borg and Eman Muscat and Nicky Gauci in P3. So the leader went from P1 to P3 in less than 2 corners.
He's
Ryan Borg, he's being beaten up right now, because Ryan Borg, Eman Muscat, he just spun around. Then that's it. It's what happens on the first lap, actually, they are all bunched up, obviously. Ryan Borg in P1, and Gustav Raj, Eman Muscat, Jake Page, Lance Borg, Nico Borg, and green flag. We're still on going racing here.
For the second time today, we've seen the pole sitter be dumped right to the back of the field because of a mistake, which is very unfortunate for him. I feel like he got a bit too overconfident. Maybe he got a bit frazzled after he lost a couple of positions and just drove a bit scruffily.
We'll see what he's going to do right now.
In the lead with a 1.7 second advantage over Andrew Stafrach, which is, for a single lap, quite a big gap. Not completely overcomable. I do think Andrew Stafrach, with enough pace, can come back.
And he's pulling away right now.
A bit daunting at the moment.
He's pulling away right now. Ryan Borg is 1.6 seconds already on Andrew Stafrach. So one small mistake, and he could just run away with this race.
And this is karting. You know, karting, if you turn very quickly, you end up losing that momentum. There might be like 4 or 5 cars, they go past you. So the thing is that there is one of probably the most experienced driver there, which is Nicky Gauci. And if he focuses on this, there's still much time left. He has potential. He has, if he continues, with that consistency, then he can get back that lead. But of course, it's a bit hard because there are other drivers. There are 7 other cars in front of him, so he needs to try and find ways where he can overtake, because they might cause an accident as well.
Sure. Nicky Gauci's race now is really all about damage control. He's already made the mistakes. He now just has to get his head down, put his socks up, and drive consistently. And if he's cautious, if he's safe, and he doesn't make any more mistakes, he could generally make it into a good position.
Yeah, that's Jake Patch. He just made a mistake, Jake Patch. We went up on that curb, Simon, that I was telling you right now. Lance Borge went onto him. He pushed him to a mistake. So Lance Borge, P4, P5, Jake Patch. And that's Ryan Borge right now. He's the leader with 1.3 seconds. New best lap, Nicky Gauci, the pole sitter, just made the fastest lap of the race. So he's coming back. Nicky Gauci right now is in P8. In front of him is Liam Grech, who is just maybe 1.5 seconds behind Liam Grech. Nicky Gauci is on to this race. So Ryan Borge, Andrew Staffraj, Emil Muscat, Lance Borge, Jake Patch, Nico Borge, Liam Grech, Nicky Gauci, the pole sitter, Jean-Pierre Attard, and unfortunately we lost. It's another DNF for Kylie Camilleri. Nicky Gauci, another fastest step of the race, 41.533. That's another fastest step for Nicky Gauci. So he's coming back, and the lead right now, the gap to the leader, Ryan Borge, right, is 14.246 seconds. So Ryan Borge, the leader, 1.4. Actually, Simon, Andrew Staffraj is keeping Ryan Borge really honest. Because he's the gap is still hovering between 1 second to 1.4 seconds. So he's keeping him honest, actually.
Yeah, Andrew Staffraj was on. He had a very decent qualifying position. Not quite fast enough to challenge Nicky and Ryan, but there or thereabouts. And this is what we're proving here today. He's still there. He's still in the fight with Ryan. One mistake, maybe Ryan runs wide, puts a wheel on the grass. Andrew Staffraj is going to be right there.
And with 8 minutes to go, you can do anything, Simon. You can just maybe run the curb a bit hard. Kart could bounce up. You can lose momentum. So Andrew Staffraj, 1.3 seconds behind Ryan Borge. As we see them right now, that's Andrew Staffraj. We're on board with him right now. In front of him is the leader, Ryan Borge, 1.1 seconds as they cross the start-finish lap. First one, turn 1, they negotiated it perfectly. So Ryan Borge still the leader. Andrew Staffraj in second place with 1 second right now, Simon. The leader is losing race pace, quite a lot. Andrew Staffraj, half a second behind Ryan Borge. We could get an incredible overtake at the first corner right now.
And still 7 minutes left to go. So one thing that they need to know as well, that our Factor 2, the platform that we're using for building our tracks, cars, and hosting these events, they need to understand that the tire wear and tire depletion, everything is simulating like in real life. So if you're gonna push and push and push without taking care of the car, yes, you're gonna feel the difference in traction. And
let's hope we stay with.
It's gonna be could be a game changer too. Maybe. Who knows who's gonna be the winner? Because you don't know what mistakes they're gonna make, depending on their pressure, and apart from that, the tire wear, we don't know yet how they're feeling. The not just the pressure, but we don't know the heat of the tire or anything. So I mean, we need to get more from the direction, the camera perspective of the driver to see, at least from their faces, if they're struggling to control the car. And then we can identify what's going to happen in the next 6 minutes.
Let's hope we stay on board with Ryan and Andrew Staffraj, because this is going to be a heated up battle. 1.2 seconds between Ryan Borge and Andrew Staffraj. Speaking of which, Nicky Gauci, he jumped from P8 to P6. He's still, though, 13.4 seconds behind the leader, Ryan Borge. So let's stay with Andrew Staffraj and Ryan Borge for the moment, as 5 minutes and 30 seconds right now of racing action still left at this first race of the senior simulator karting experience that we are having here in Montekristo Estates. Ryan Borg still leads 1.2 seconds from Andrew Staffraj, and Eman Muscat is looming a bit behind with 3 seconds behind Ryan Borg. So Ryan Borg right now under a second, 0.5 of a second. Let's hope the direction can go back to Ryan Borg and Andrew Staffraj, because this is going to be an incredible battle that we're going to maybe come up at the start-finish straight. This is Ryan Borg, the leader. Behind him, Andrew Staffraj, hungry to get that first win. And Simon.
Yes, absolutely. The thing Andrew Staffraj has to kind of take aware of, time is running out. He's kind of fluctuating in his gap. He's getting a bit closer, then losing some more time, then getting closer again. If he's going to make an attack for the lead, if he's going to make a genuine bid to win this race, as someone crashes... Sorry, that's not one of the leaders, my mistake.
And that's what actually Andrew Staffraj needs. Someone crashing by, so maybe he can get a yellow flag, something to help him out, or a back marker, actually.
I thought the safety car is going to come out again.
You think?
No, but...
No. It's already it's green flag
already. That would have been a game changer. The thing is that, you know what, I don't want to jinx it, but you have seen the thumbnail of the broadcast. I think that was Ryan Borg on the screen when you have the design, the artwork.
Okay, all right, okay.
That's Ryan.
Okay.
Oh, wow. So I don't want to jinx it, or, you know, but...
No, we know that they're experienced drivers.
A little bit of foreshadowing never hurt anyone.
No!
Greg, that's and Greg can jump here at start.
Oh, there's a missing wheel there.
That's a missing wheel. That's a missing wheel, and that could bring out this race.
That could bring out the safety car and neutralize the whole race. So it's a yellow flag right now in sector 1.
That's definitely for him, yeah.
Ryan Borg still leads with
an
one.
Unfortunate crash. It's one of those where the front corner, the back corner of one car gets connected to the front one, and then none of them can turn. It must have been really frustrating for both drivers, careering into a wall and not being able to turn out of it.
Yeah.
There's another yellow in sector 2, but they cleared sector 1 really quickly. So Ryan Borg still a second on Andrew Staffraj. Actually, Andrew Staffraj, he always is faster than Ryan Borg. At the first sector, he always gets a little bit of time under that 1 second to Ryan Borg. Now the gap is still hovering to 0.9 of a second with 2 and 50 minutes of racing action left. And we're still with Ryan Borg at P1 and Andrew Staffraj 0.8 seconds behind the leader Ryan Borg. We're on board right now with Andrew Staffraj still concentrating hard on that karting simulator, and Eman Muscat still looming behind, 3.6 seconds behind them. Ryan Borg the leader, 0.6 seconds on Andrew Staffraj. 2 minutes and 20 seconds left of racing action. Let's see them behind on this tight hairpin here. Now the right, and then the left again, and then the tight right hairpin. Andrew Staffraj still in P2. Ryan Borg the leader. Now the left hander, the left hairpin. Then the final corner. Onto the start straight we go. With 1 minute and 50 seconds left of racing action. Ryan Borg still in P1, a second away from Andrew Staffraj. And Eman Muscat getting a grips of that go-kart with 2.9 seconds right now away from the leader Ryan Borg. Ryan Borg still leads. We're on board right now with Eman Muscat. He is 2.5 seconds away from the leader. Let's see, Ryan Borg. 0.6 seconds right now on Andrew Staffraj. Let's hope the direction focuses more on this P1 and P2 action. We're on board right now. That's it. We're on Andrew Staffraj. Ryan Borg P1, 7/10 on Andrew Staffraj. Andrew Staffraj needs to get on with it. We still have just 1 minute and 10 seconds of racing action
the gap's now down
left.
to 4/10.
Exactly, now 4/10. So less than half a second. Ryan Borg on Andrew Staffraj. Let's see what's going to happen here. 0.3 of a seconds right now. Andrew Staffraj in P2. Ryan Borg struggling, I think, in P1. Let's see what happens here on this tight right-hander here. Ryan Borg, just a little bit of advantage. 2/10 actually to be exactly on Andrew Staffraj. And Andrew Staffraj tried to show a wheel to Ryan Borg. as we come up to maybe it will be the final lap of the race. We still have 30 seconds to go. So Ryan Borch in P1, Andrew Staffraj in P2, 4/10 of a second between the two of them. Let's see who is going to win the first karting race ever, simulator karting race in Malta. So Ryan Borch, P1, 4/10 of a second to Andrew Staffraj. Gap goes down to 3/10 of a second to Ryan Borch. We're going to come up now to this tight right-hand hairpin
And just
over here.
is running out of opportunities. There are only a handful of corners left, and most of them aren't overtaking zones.
Yeah, I think Ryan Borch is going to do it. Ryan Borch might do it. It's going to take a big risk to Andrew Staffraj, but Ryan Borch is going to win the first race, karting simulator race here in Malta. Well done, Ryan Borch. P2 to Andrew Staffraj, P3, Eman Muscat. What an amazing race, guys.
Yeah, it was good. You know, you saw Andrew Staffraj, you kept pushing. So
it was an amazing,
Staffraj
race.
should be so proud of his drive. Yeah. He kept Ryan Borch honest for every single lap. Ryan Borch could not breathe for a single second in that race.
And I
because
think
of
as soon as he crossed the line, I bet he had a really big smile and a good breathtaking experience, because that was
in the corner.
amazing.
Look how happy he is. He's so delighted with himself. We love to see it.
Amazing.
Eman, of course, third. I kept pushing as well. So it was a good race after all. So
Eman Muscat had a very quiet but a very consistent race, and I think that's something that really he should be proud of, to be able to run your own race for so many laps and
as
still
you can
finish in
see
a
on
good
track.
position.
Before we switched, you can see that the driving line and the rubber was picking up on the side, and so I mean, let's hope that they enjoyed it, because that's part of it. It's not about winning, as we always say. Of course, that's important for the driver, especially who won today, for Ryan. But we have to keep that enjoying moment in esports and racing. In fact, we're hearing people cheering for Ryan. There you go. Yeah, I mean,
it's so nice to see such a happy and celebratory
this is the fun part.
feeling in our own faculty.
I think everybody was excited, and you know, everybody wanted to win after all. But yeah, you can see that everybody is happy, enjoying it, and you know, something that we push a lot in having such community enjoying this event. So yeah, I think we need to go for ads before we bring the drivers, the winners, of course. So we'll see you soon.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
Welcome back. We are joined right now with our third place finisher, Emma Muscat. Congratulations, first of all, podium finish.
Yes.
Extremely well done to you. You drove such a consistent and such a well race.
Thank
you were
you.
really just a joy to watch.
Yes.
What was your perspective and your take on it?
So I started before. At the start, I moved up to P2. Then I did a small mistake that cost me a place. But overall, I'm happy. I'm happy with the result. Yes.
That's lovely to hear. You should be happy. Like
Yes,
a podium
yes.
finish in a race like this. Obviously, you've raced against these people in real life on our actual go-karting track. How does that compare to a simulator? You mentioned this is only your second time using a simulator.
Yes. So basically, you can't compare that much because in reality, you know what you're doing. So if the driver in front of you brakes earlier, you have to brake. In the simulator, if you don't brake and you crash, you're not going to be hurt. So you can afford to abuse a little bit more, you know.
Fair enough. That's a very interesting take, because obviously a lot of time we hear from people starting on simulators and then taking a foray into real racing. Going the other way around, is it more challenging on a simulator or less challenging?
No, I think it's more challenging because the mistake I did, I can afford of not doing it, you know.
Mhm.
But you know, I did a mistake. But in real life, you know that I know that I can't overtake in that corner. But I'm on sim. I gave it a try and it didn't work. So you can stick with it.
Fair enough.
The speed comparison between the real life and the simulator karting, is it different or maybe sort of the same in your perspective?
Yes. For me, it's different because when I'm in the kart, I feel more faster. You
Okay.
Yes.
So speed difference
Yes.
in that time comparison.
No,
How was it?
I was.
You were doing here like 41s and 42s, yeah?
Yes, I did. I think a 41.8, my personal best on
Something,
the
yeah, something
simulator.
like that.
But in real life, I went into the 40s, 40.5. So there's quite a difference.
Okay. So it's like a second and a half difference.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's good.
That's
Yeah,
another interesting
congratulations.
take, because a second and a half, in the grand scheme of things, is not a lot of time.
No,
Which is kind
no.
of a testament to, obviously, there was going to be inaccuracies when transforming a race onto a virtual space. But to see that it's that comparable to only a second and a half off, and this is your second time in a simulator, so
Yes.
odds are with enough practice you could probably match a lap time
Exactly.
that you set in real life.
Yes.
Which is
I think GP Racing and also R Factor 2 made a really good work actually of the track in Malta. Not feeling, obviously you cannot feel anything through your body, but the sense of speed from real life to karting simulator. I think they made a really good job. GP Racing and obviously
absolutely, I couldn't agree with you more.
R Factor 2.
So,
Yes.
Eman, one final question. You've had an experience, you're very good at racing on using real karts on a real track. You've had some experience racing now virtual karts on a virtual track. Do you think you'll come back to the virtual space and try your sim racing again?
Yes. I like sim racing from today now. But I think if you're going to drive abroad, so I think the simulator helps you a bit to learn the race line, braking points, etc. So
Fair.
I think I will drive more some simulator now.
We love to hear it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming with us today.
Thank you.
We hope to see you again. And
Yes.
again, it can't be understated. Congratulations on your incredible P3 drive.
Thank you.
You've got your lovely little trophy there
Yes.
for us.
Yes.
I hope you're proud of it, because you absolutely deserve to be.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are now going to cut back to our facility, and when we join us again, we'll have our second place driver, Andrew Stafrach. Welcome back. You now join us in the studio where we have our second place finisher, Andrew Stafach. Congratulations. You drove so well fighting against Ryan Borge pretty much every single lap of the race. What was it like from you being stuck behind the car for so long and trying to overtake?
Well, I was trying not to crash. That's why. I didn't want to. I didn't want to ruin it all. I was being very careful, obviously, and I was trying to keep up. And it wasn't so hard with the pressure, but I definitely felt it.
Fair. So, you started in P3, I believe?
P3.
P3, right. You got the position on Nicky Borge after he made a mistake. From then on, how do you get in the mindset of having to follow a car, especially for that long, without either losing back or getting almost lazy and following his lines? How do you keep yourself motivated to keep pushing?
Well, for me, it was just concentrating on not crashing and not doing any mistakes, not riding the curbs too much because that unsettles the kart, and mainly just trying to stay focused and not do any mistakes.
Fair. So, obviously, we've been asking, we asked Emin this just a moment ago. You very used to racing with physical cars on a physical track. Have you? Do you have a lot of experience with simulators?
No, this is the third time on the simulator.
Oh wow! How does the experience compare to physical racing?
It's nothing like physical racing for me. Physical racing, you obviously have the G-forces. You have a better control of the kart, obviously. On simulator, it's like you're floating. It's not.
Right.
It's not really. You're not really there. You don't feel the kart. You don't feel the G-forces. You don't really know what speed you're going. You can't feel the speed. There's no. Even when you're braking, you don't know how much you're pressing the brake pedal. It's nothing like the real in reality.
Fair. But are the skill sets similar enough that you can take things you learned from physical racing and apply them to sim racing, or vice versa? Do you think?
If the G-forces are applied, yes, it's doable.
Okay, fair enough. That's a very interesting perspective, Edwin. I don't know if you have anything to add.
Yes, of course. Well, obviously, I would start by telling you congratulations on the race. Obviously, we really thought that you were going to have him, eh? Obviously, we were going to...
Should have been hearing Edwin shouting about you.
It was an incredible race, but obviously, ultimately, that, not the last lap, that penultimate mistake on the penultimate lap, that costed you the win, actually.
Yes, yes.
I was telling Simon, when you exactly when you went to just a bit of track onto the grass, that's when you lost the race, actually.
Yes, yes.
That's what I'm watching.
Those are karts. You go on the grass once and you've had it.
Exactly. Because you were really close. 3 tenths, 4 tenths. At the moment, you were even less than 2 tenths. As soon as you touch the grass on that penultimate lap, that's a second gone, actually.
Yes, he went wide even in turn 3, and I thought I would gain an advantage, but then I did a mistake in turn 4, I think.
Exactly. We saw it actually. We really thought, yeah. Coming to what you were saying before, you were saying that obviously there's nothing comparing to the real life, to the simulator, obviously, with G-forces and stuff. And that's obviously understandable. You cannot feel the go-kart underneath your whole body. But after today, would you come back again?
Yes, sure. I mean, it's fun. It's an experience, obviously. It's like, it's fun, you know.
Yes, exactly. We need more drivers like you, actually, because you gave us a really, really good show. You and Ryan Borge gave us a really good show. That was an amazing last lap, actually.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We hope you had a fun time, and we hope to see you again.
Thank you.
Congratulations. You honestly drove a great race to second place. An incredible battle with Ryan Borge. You entertained us the whole race. So we appreciate it, and we hope you do too. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
We're now going to cut back to our facility for just a moment, but in a couple of minutes you will be joined with our race winner, Ryan Borge. So don't go anywhere. Welcome back to our studio. We are joined with our race winner, Ryan Forge. A massive congratulations.
Thank you.
Had to put up with so much pressure from Andrew Stafford, but you came out on top. You won the massive trophy of the night. What's your experience of it? How happy are you with this result?
Yeah, it's my second time here. Yeah, it was a close race. At the end, he was catching me, but at least I stood with the pressure. Yeah.
You absolutely did, and you stood it very well. As a driver, how difficult is it to, knowing you have a car behind you, knowing you have a car very close behind you, how difficult is it to not make mistakes and keep focused?
Yeah, mostly it's not difficult with the pressure. It's more difficult to sort of keep just driving. As soon as you're in the front, just think that the normal driving, a practice day on Sunday, and you'll do it. But if you continue looking backwards, thinking about the guy at the back, you're gonna screw it.
Obviously, on a go-kart, you don't have any mirrors, obviously. You don't have any rear view mirrors. You felt that Andrew Stafford was behind you because he was really close, actually, yeah?
And in your vision, you sort of
you
catch
knew
him.
about him, you knew about him because he was catching you fast. And then the gap sort of hovered, obviously, 1.2, 1.4, it hovered around there, but then at the final laps, at the final 3, 2, and obviously the final lap, he was a tenth from you, so it was really close.
I didn't really want to risk, sort of. I took the corners slowly, then in qualifying, for example, but I wanted to maintain the pace. Didn't do any mistakes that maybe could throw the win away, and yeah.
Ultimately, it worked out for you.
Yeah.
You're sitting here, us celebrating you, massive trophy.
Thank you.
The start, Ryan, no, that start was amazing. Yeah?
Thank you.
From P2, twice, the two starts we had, from P2, he jumped. At the first phase, he didn't do sort of anything. He just stayed sort of behind Nicky Gauci. Then at the second phase, as soon as you turn that first right-hand corner, you just shot away. Actually, that's an incredible start. Congratulations to you.
So I've asked both of our other drivers tonight this. You obviously mostly racing physical cars. How different is racing a simulator?
It's similar regarding pressure and everything, braking points. The only thing missing is sort of the wind, the feel in your body, but it's similar. It for sure helps. Yeah.
See, that's so interesting because Andrew Stafford said they were essentially two completely different experiences because you didn't have the wind running, you didn't have the G-forces as you're driving.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting, Edwin, maybe you can comment on this as well, how two different drivers, racing in the same race, extremely close to each other, have two completely different experiences in sim racing.
And that was the friend just told us it's completely different.
Yeah.
Than from real life. Now Ryan Borge, you know that there's something similar. Lap times, comparing lap times, how did you compare it?
No, I was a second and a half slower.
So, okay. But it's on a simulator which you don't drive every day.
No, it's my second time.
So we're there, sort of.
Yeah. So, Eamon Muscat said something very similar, where he said that he was about a second and a half off. Do you think with enough practice on the simulator you could iron out the kinks and match the time you set in real life?
And regarding turn 2, I have much time to make. I think turn 4 also. So time will definitely go down.
That's what I was saying, Simon, during the race. Ryan Borge is losing a lot of time on the first sector. And Andrew Stafford, that's where he was catching you. At the first sector, he was catching you really quickly. And then at the second sector, you hovered the gap, actually. Not just shot away, just hovered the gap, but nonetheless, an incredible race. Under so much pressure, Simon. That's an incredible achievement.
Absolutely. I can guarantee you had Edwin screaming the whole race because of how exciting you and just the Rogers fight was. It was very entertaining for me to watch, and I was here in the room. So yeah, it really cannot be understated how well you drove tonight. You absolutely deserve to win this race. So a massive congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And thank you for being here. We hope to see you again.
Hopefully.
Do you think you'll be coming back to our facility? You'll be saying hello to us again?
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely. Thank you. We love to hear it. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Very much. We're now going to take a quick break, but thank you for joining our broadcast, and thank you for all the drivers who came to join us. Welcome back. I am joined once again by CEO and founder of World Pro Racing, Justin Mifsud, and as always, Edwin. We've just watched two incredible races from real-life racing drivers here in Malta. What are your final thoughts on the races, final thoughts on the drivers, and the experience as a whole?
Well, obviously, first race was obviously just a bit not entertaining that much actually. Just from 5 drivers, only 2 of them finished. This senior race, that was where the excitement was actually on that final lap. We all thought that Andrew Staffraj was going to take Ryan Borch. Obviously, Ryan Borch coped well with the situation. They are all drivers actually that came here, especially the senior ones. They're experienced a lot, so they know what they need to do in their head. They know what the racing is all about. So it was an incredible event actually. First racing karting event, simulator karting event, and that went absolutely brilliantly.
I mean, this was the first Larev sort of showcase to the public. Just to correct you a bit, on the first race, it was not much of entertainment, yes, but you know what? We got 5 new drivers as sim racers as well. That means that, you know, we might have future drivers in esports leading to somewhere in motorsport in a larger scale, or a bigger championship more than just karting. So, of course, the second race was the most entertaining. I mean, there was a second race actually after the chaos, but overall it was enjoyable, especially for me. I mean, being a person where most of the time meetings and broadcast, you know, you don't even appreciate the race because you have to switch, you have to direct the broadcast, and I spent the time with you guys today watching a race. I had my time to be with you guys and watch a race and say, oh, I have some time now. So this was my break for today. I enjoyed it.
Well, obviously that's amazing to hear. As a general question, how difficult is it when you're running a race like this, taking care of all the camera angles, taking care of all the direction? How annoyed do you get with, for example, me and Edwin during a race?
I mean, you know the situation today, this event, what happened. Although everything that happened, we were late, more than an hour late, not our fault, but we're still late. The event still happened, and you know, I have to think something out there, especially for people out there. When panicking in such an environment, broadcasting is, you know, you don't know what might happen, especially when having a broadcast, which is technology, and broadcasting esports, which is technology as well. It's not like a football match or real motorsports. Still, you might have technical issues that, like in real motorsport as well, but in esports, and broadcasting technology, where we have to take care of the simulations, making sure that everything is running well, the servers are running well. So far, so good. We never had any issues with servers, unless it's an endurance race where you have like 24 hours where your mind is always thinking, please, let's hope nothing happens. But yes, there's a lot of stress while doing a broadcast, and I think to go over all this is not to panic. The only thing that we have to think about or keep in mind is a solution. So that's why whatever happens behind the scenes, and because you've been commentating and you see me running around like Speedy Gonzalez. But still, the event
Justin
happened.
has been doing his best Sonic impression today.
People don't know what happened out there, and this is what we do. I mean, what's wrong with things happening in the broadcast or whatever, the whole event? People don't know how much work and effort there is we put behind the scenes for such broadcast. I mean, I know that there are people out there that appreciate what we do.
Yeah,
and the thing is that, of course, I thank GP Racing for trusting in us to create such event. An event that it's forgetting all that happened before. It was a good event overall.
Yeah,
which I enjoyed. For me, this is like a normal day at the office. So yes, I would like to thank everybody, you guys as usual, for accepting the offer to come again to commentate. We enjoy your commentary, especially putting out there the local commentators. You came from university, you came from, you know, each other through motorsport and social media. So you have that nice character which people love. And you, I think today,
I don't have a character people love.
You continue. You continue to prove how good you are. So, yes, I thank everybody, all the supporters. I would like to thank also all the people behind the scenes. There's Nathan Vella directing the broadcast. There's Andrea Rizzo as well, and others with Adrian and George direction, and everybody else who is helping us in any way they can to make such broadcasting best as possible. We always push to have the best product we can out there, and as we go along this year, it was always the plan to be the best year so far since those past 5 years since we started in 2017. That's the plan, and that's what we'll try and continue doing.
Well, I think that is an absolutely lovely note to end on. Thank you everyone for watching. I would also like to thank GP Racing for providing their support and also their drivers, giving them this experience. It's been so much fun for us and hopefully for all of them as well. I'd also like to thank ESTV, TVM Sports and Motorsport.tv for broadcasting our event and giving us the platform. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we hope you join us again in the future.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
Senna was a god. No one could even dream to follow him.
I'm from a very humble background.
The role of women at that time were really difficult.
This is so dangerous. You're risking not only your life, but also my life.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.